I will be summarizing the species composition, climate ecology, and management concerns of the Gran Chaco Forest, which is the second largest forest in South America. The Gran Chaco Forest is located in interior south-central South America. More than half of it is in Argentina, a third is in Paraguay, and the rest is in Bolivia. The climate of the Gran Chaco is mostly subtropical, but it varies as you move south from tropical to warm temperate. The average temperature is 60 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, but freezing winter temperatures can occur. The average relative humidity is 50 to 75%. The highest average annual rainfall is 52 inches. Precipitation decreases as you move west, and a third to half of precipitation comes in the hot summer. Evaporation losses in the Gran Chaco are large, and this reduces effective precipitation, which is what makes the Chaco arid. Outbreaks of cool polar air from the south bring thunderstorms and strong winds, typically in the spring, and dust storms occur in the dry season. The Gran Chaco is a lowland alluvial plain and basin formed by subsidence or downwarping of the area. It's a combination of arid subtropical low forests and savannas. There are two main rivers in the Gran Chaco, which are the Pilcomayo and Bermejo. The soil of the Gran Chaco is nearly stone-free, mainly unconsolidated sandy and silty sediments that can be up to 10,000 feet deep in some places. Sand mostly being in grasslands and savannas, and poorly drained clay being in the bushlands. There is a high concentration of dissolved salt in the groundwater, which creates conditions intolerable to plants in swampy sites. The Gran Chaco is poorly drained by West Bank tributaries of the Paraguay and Parana rivers. High losses from flooding, seepage, and evaporation are sustained by this forest, and shallow, irregular channels lead to extensive flooding during rainy summers. Due to salinity and these losses, fresh water and the maintenance of it is scarce. In the Gran Chaco, there are 38 families and 80 genera of plants, which are mainly adapted to grow under arid conditions. The characteristic tree, which I have here on the right in the slide, is the red cribatro tree, and other species include Hericea bonplandii and multiple species of legumes. The Gran Chaco is mainly vast, low hardwood forests with an understory of savanna grasses, which mainly occupy areas away from rivers. The vegetation in the Gran Chaco is associated with patterns of soil, which can actually vary with just 3 feet of elevation. There are 145 species of mammals in the Gran Chaco, including the capybara, shown in the top left, the guanaco, peccary, agouti, and tapir. 10% of mammals in the Gran Chaco are endemic to the forest. There are 409 species of bird, and the Gran Chaco is actually one of the last major refuges for the rhea or nandu, which is a large flightless South American bird. The streams in this forest host 400 or more fish, including the piranha. There are 54 reptiles, many lizards, and 60 known species of snakes, and 34 amphibians with at least 6 poisonous tree toads. The original landscape of the Chaco was mostly parkland and patches of hardwoods and grasslands, which were kept stable by periodic fires, usually caused by lightning or indigenous people. However, fire intensity and frequency declined after colonization by Europeans, resulting in the withdrawal of indigenous people and a reduction of fuel due to overgrazing by introduced domestic cattle. As a result, grassland patches were invaded by woody vegetation, increasing susceptibility of plants to grazing. An increase of occupation by humans due to railroads and opening of the Trans-Chaco Road has led to large-scale ranching projects, which often entail single-species pastures that eliminate native vegetation. The combination of overgrazing, removal of timber, charcoal production, and overexploitation of wildlife has a negative impact on biodiversity and potential productivity of the natural vegetation. This could create a dense, unproductive scrubland dominated by woody weeds. The capybara is also a concern for the Gran Chaco forest. Populations of capybara are increasingly expanding into the Gran Chaco due to the conversion of dry tropical forest to pasture land. These invasions may exacerbate the degradation of forest and prevent regeneration. Also, the arrival of Sus scrofa, or the wild boar, has made collared peccary populations, a mammal frequently hunted by the local farmers, retreat towards mountainous or marginal areas, which force the farmers to travel farther to hunt the collared peccaries. Current management actions for these issues have the goal of maintaining the original forest and grassland in a productive cycle. This is done through a multiple species ranching system of beef, timber, charcoal, and wildlife production. There are three main steps to this, which are restoration of the degraded land, gradual reintroduction of cattle, and the development of a management scheme based on systematic cycles of rest and exploitation for each sector in which the area is divided. This management divides units into subunits, which are fenced to keep out goats and cattle. Within subunits, fallen wood is removed and trees and shrubs are harvested to provide hardwood timber and fuel for charcoal ovens. A few mature trees of most valuable species, especially quebrachos, are left standing to provide seeds for natural reforestation. Seeds of wild grasses are added where regrowth is poor, and an area is then left undisturbed and protected from cattle until young hardwood saplings become large enough to resist grazing. Limited grazing may be allowed before this for the dispersal of grass seeds spread in cattle dung. After about 5 years, when the young trees are about 2 meters tall, the saplings are thinned and undesirable woody plants are removed and used to produce charcoal to relieve competition with young hardwoods. Grazing is allowed under controlled conditions with no more than 1 cow per 4 hectares. This provides beef and allows for the grass to maintain itself and hardwoods to mature. This form of management has been shown to be viable through its success in preserving a high proportion of the Chaco's original biodiversity, ensuring basic ecosystem functions and services, adding stability and resilience to the managed system, preserving future alternative uses, and reducing environmental pollution.